Hey guys, welcome. Today I figured I'd show you how I get my files over from my Windows computer over to this Mac. Now this is the actual website diary files that we've been working on. It's in a zip file. A zip file, if I double click it, makes a folder called website. And so I can get rid of this. But just to show you, whenever you want to make or send your website somewhere between computers or whatever you want to, you can go and compress the whole website into a zip file. And when you do that, then you can rename it. For me, I just called it Website Diary 23, so I knew which version of the video that this was kind of from. And if you look inside the folder, there's all the files that we've been working on so far. And when we look at the specifics, the Dreamweaver setup as well is not done. So I have to go to Manage Sites. In Manage Sites, I have to find the new site option, and then I have to fill this in. This is just going to be website. I could type in desktop website here, but you can also browse to it, and you can go to your desktop, find the website folder and choose that, and that'll just type that in for you. And then you click done, and there's your files again, right? So there's our index page and there's our penguins page. Now this is showing me a split view. I'm just going to go back over the code view or design view. We had a question of how do you get this stuff into a link. Just remember, you highlight the word that you want to link, and then you go to your properties panel, and in your properties panel you should see that there's an option there called link, and in there you can say explore.html, and that'll then make that whole thing blue and underlined, and that goes to a fictitious page which we don't have. I'm just going to undo that, but that's over in the Windows properties panel there. The other thing that I wanted to point out, the question we had is how can I keep my CSS tidy? And it's such a good question because, well, look, all of this stuff is great in here, but the problem that I have with it is that we've got a copy of it over here practically. We've only added this little bit of content styling. And so when you get to that point, you start to think, well, isn't there a better way? Isn't there a way for me to kind of keep all of this stuff tidy? And there is, and that's basically why we have this CSS folder, which has been empty forever, in there. And if you look at what it is that we're doing, when we load in Google Fonts, we're actually loading in another CSS file from Google. So this is all the different little bits and pieces that we're loading in. So if we had our own style.css, that's all we would need to have on the page to load it in. Now to get one of those, we actually have to go in and make a new file. And then here we'll make CSS. And this is our new CSS file. Go into our index page, grab all the stuff from inside the style tag. Don't grab the style tag because the style tag is HTML, so if you grab this it doesn't work. So put this in here, there's your H1, there's your body. Go over to penguins, and in penguins we've got the same stuff. So I'm just going to cut all of that. The reason I cut over copying is so then I visually see I've grabbed everything, because sometimes if I copy I might not see that I had style selected, and then stuff doesn't work as well as I wanted it to. So copy that over here, paste that in here, and then you can see that you've got this H1 twice, and that's not something you need, right? But in the body you see that we've got font family, yes we've got font size, but in this one we've got a background image of king penguins, right? And that potentially with even this content explanation here are unique things, except we're going to have one of these on every single page, whereas we won't have a background image that's the penguins on every page. So what we do is we grab this specific one and we move it over into the style tag for the penguins page. So now what happens is that particular rule is not going to be in the main CSS file, so we can get rid of the rest of the body because that's just a duplicate. And then you have your H1, your body, your content, but in the penguins page, you've moved over the background bit. Unfortunately, because we cut a portion of the tag out, this won't work until we go back in and we say body squiggly bracket, and then inside that space is where we put the background image, and we see that it turns the right color, so everything's working well. And remember, if your colors aren't coming up for whatever reason, maybe you didn't make a HTML page, or maybe this is just set to something else, but just make sure from the drop down you do pick HTML. Just like when you're in CSS, the drop down here says CSS. So that's how Dreamweaver color codes it. So if you're looking at Sublime text, it's a similar process. Dreamweaver just does that for you. Alright, so now we have minimal CSS. We don't have anything in this style tag on the home page. We don't have anything except this background image of the king penguins on the penguins page. And then we have kept the rest of the stuff that appears on every page inside of our CSS file. So we'll save that CSS file. I'll call it style, and I will also put it inside of my CSS folder. And just save that. And then what I can do is I can link to it. Same process as this, so this link whole thing for the font, but instead of the font, what we're going to be loading is CSS, because that's the folder, / and then find the style CSS. And so that's the line that we want to have in our index page as well. And we want to have it before any specific style explanations, because the style will override any rules. What I mean by that is that if in the body I said that we had a background color, let's do color, American spelling, right, that was yellow. If we went into our index page and our penguins page, well, we won't see it on the penguins page because we've got the penguins background, which is great. Failing to show you that here. Let's just comment that out. Oops. And what we've got is the same kind of colored background. But if we were to go in here and in our CSS actually say background color is red, then this penguins one wins over that global CSS file. And you can see that this is basically turned red because I've told it to. However, if I had the link happen after, then it's going to win because yellow is going to be said after red. So it's like whatever's said last wins. And in this case, I want my global kind of CSS to be said first. So we go up here, we put that in. And then I want my local CSS, which in this case isn't going to change the background color, but instead what it's going to do is it's going to change the background image to be that of the penguins. So that's the one I want in here. And then my global one, I don't really want that yellow color, so I'm just going to get rid of that yellow color. And then hopefully that changes on the home page as well. So that's it. That's just a way to keep things a little bit more tidy. You can jump between your source code and your style sheet this way, which is also nice. And yes, you can eventually move all the font stuff in there as well, but we might do that another day. But hopefully that gives you an idea of what happens as you kind of build your larger site. You're going to keep having a single style sheet, but you're going to have independent HTML pages that have your content. And that's another benefit of having separated out your HTML from your CSS, because you don't have that duplication. And the biggest trouble duplication can get you in is if you change your mind about the font, having to go and change it in 5 different files, as opposed to just changing it in one CSS file. So there's a lot of opportunity here to save time if you do it initially. So thanks for joining me. We'll keep going with this tomorrow, but if you have any questions, please pop them down in the comments as always, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Bye.